All right, get ready because we're diving deep into the legacy of a true icon, Freddie Mercury.
Oh, Freddie Mercury, what a legacy.
And let me tell you, there is so much to uncover.
Mm.
We had to make this a multi-part deep dive.
Wow, multi-part, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we've got biographies, interviews, articles, even some rare footage
Oh, wow.
that I think is going to blow your mind.
Okay, well, let's get into it then.
All right, so for instance, get this Bohemian Rhapsody, you know, that iconic anthem.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Almost got tossed in the trash. Can you believe it?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I guess every band has those stories.
It's true, but Bohemian Rhapsody, come on.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
So we'll unpack that story for sure.
Yes, we will. And we'll also dive into Freddie's transformation from Farrokh Bulsara to the electrifying Freddie Mercury we all know and love.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited to unpack that.
And we're also going to talk about Freddie's impact as an artist, as a performer, and yes, as an icon, particularly within the LGBTQ plus community.
Oh, absolutely. That's such a huge part of his story.
Huge part of his story. And, you know, this deep dive, it's not just a history lesson. It's about understanding why his legacy is still burning so brightly today.
Yeah, and I think what's often overlooked is his journey before Queen. You know, he wasn't born a rock star. He was born Farrokh Bulsara in Zanzibar.
Right.
Imagine that cultural blend, Parsi heritage, British colonialism, and this fascination with Western music.
It's like all those influences were just waiting to explode onto the stage.
They were, and even in boarding school in India, he formed his first band, the Hectics.
Oh, the Hectics. I love that name.
Right.
It's like a premonition of the energy that would define his career.
Absolutely.
Then he moves to England, studies art and fashion, and his obsession with Jimi Hendrix just fueled the fire even more.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it makes so much sense. You can totally hear Hendrix's influence in some of Queen's earlier work.
Oh, for sure. That theatrical flair, you know, that bending of musical rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Freddie joins the band Smile, which later becomes Queen.
Right.
And it was like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon.
It really was.
He deliberately crafted this persona of Freddie Mercury.
Mm-hmm.
He became larger than life.
Yeah. But, you know, it wasn't all easy for them.
Ooh. No, it wasn't.
Queen faced a lot of rejection early on.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Record companies just didn't know what to make of them.
You know what's so funny is that DIY spirit, recording their own demos and designing their own stage shows,
Right.
it became part of their magic.
It did.
They refused to be put in a box.
And then, of course, Bohemian Rhapsody, a song that almost didn't see the light of day.
It's crazy.
Can you imagine a world without that anthem?
I can't.
I know, it's hard.
It's hard. So the record executives thought it was too long, too weird, but Freddie knew they had something special.
He did. And his confidence in that song,
Yep.
in his artistic vision, is just remarkable.
It's a testament to his belief in himself and his music.
And, you know, they didn't just conquer the UK either. Their impact was global, especially in Japan and South America.
That's right. I mean, there are stories about Freddie being completely fascinated by Japanese art, collecting silk kimonos,
Yeah.
even incorporating some of those aesthetics into their stage shows.
It shows his openness to different cultures,
Yeah.
you know, just constantly seeking inspiration from all around him.
Yeah. And speaking of embracing the world, Freddie's persona, both on and off stage, is such a fascinating paradox.
Isn't it?
He was this flamboyant showman, just commanding attention, but fiercely private in his personal life.
Mm-hmm.
That duality just added to his mystique. You know?
Right, like he built a wall between Freddie Mercury, the rock god, and Farrokh Bulsara, the man behind the mask.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something we'll definitely explore more in the next part of this deep dive, the complexities of his relationships,
Yes.
particularly with Mary Austin.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not forget, Freddie was also navigating a world that wasn't always accepting of his true self.
Absolutely.
Being openly gay in the 70s and 80s, especially in the spotlight, was no easy feat.
Very true. He found freedom and anonymity in cities like New York and Munich, you know, exploring the gay scene, but also managing this public persona that couldn't fully reflect who he was.
Right.
So imagine the pressure, the internal conflict he must have felt.
It's heartbreaking yet inspiring to see how he navigated that, never letting it dim his creative fire.
It really is amazing.
It really is.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Freddie Mercury's legacy. Last time we left off with Freddie navigating a world that wasn't always ready to embrace his true self.
Yeah. And it's incredible how he managed to channel all of that into his music, pushing boundaries, creating these anthems that still resonate today. But it wasn't all smooth sailing for Queen, was it?
No, they definitely faced their share of challenges. Remember their decision to play in South Africa during apartheid?
Oh, yeah.
Huge controversial move.
Yeah, it landed them on the UN's blacklist.
It did.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. It sparked a lot of debate, even among their fans. It's a reminder that, even our heroes are human,
They are.
capable of making mistakes.
Right, and while the band did eventually express regret for that decision,
Yeah,
it definitely highlights the complex social and political landscape they were navigating.
for sure.
But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the music itself.
Yeah.
Because that's where Freddie's genius truly shines.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, where do we even begin? Bohemian Rhapsody, We Are the Champions,
Yes.
Somebody to Love. These songs have become part of our collective DNA.
It's true. Each one tells a story, captures an emotion, and showcases Freddie's incredible vocal range and songwriting prowess. Take Killer Queen, for example.
Oh, Killer Queen. Yeah.
Their first major hit, and you can hear those influences. We talked about the glam rock, the theatrical flair, even a hint of old Hollywood glamour
Oh, yeah.
that Freddie loved so much.
It's like a mini movie playing out in your ears.
It is. And speaking of cinematic, we can't forget Bohemian Rhapsody. To think it almost got scrapped
Oh, my God.
because some folks thought it was too long and unconventional.
Too long and unconventional.
6 minutes of pure operatic rock.
I mean, it was a bold move.
It was, but Freddie was adamant about keeping it.
He was...
And thankfully, he won that battle. It's a testament to his artistic vision and his unwavering belief in pushing boundaries.
Yeah. And the recording process was legendary.
Oh, tell me about it.
All those layered harmonies, the use of analog tape, it was groundbreaking for its time.
It's amazing how they managed to create such a complex and nuanced song using technology that seems so primitive by today's standards.
Right.
But it's a reminder that innovation isn't always about having the fanciest equipment. It's about pushing the limits of what you have.
So true. And Bohemian Rhapsody wasn't just a musical feat. It also revolutionized music videos.
Yeah.
The imagery, the storytelling.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
was a game changer.
It paved the way for artists to use music videos as an extension of their creativity to tell stories visually and connect with their audiences on a whole new level.
Okay, I have to ask, what about We Are the Champions?
Oh, yes.
I mean, that song has become synonymous with victory.
It has.
Played at sporting events, graduations, it's everywhere.
It's the ultimate anthem of resilience and achievement, and Freddie knew exactly what he was doing when he wrote it. He wanted to create something that people could sing together, a unifying chant of victory.
And he nailed it. There's something so powerful about that chorus, the way it builds and swells. It gives me chills every time.
You know, there's actually scientific research that suggests We Are the Champions is one of the catchiest songs ever written.
Really?
It's scientifically designed to get stuck in your head.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
No wonder it's played at every major sporting event. And speaking of anthems, we can't forget We Will Rock You.
Oh, of course.
It's so simple, yet so effective, just stomping feet and clapping hands, and yet it creates this incredible energy.
It's become a stadium ritual, a call to action that transcends language and culture. And it's a testament to Queen's ability to tap into something primal, something that connects us all.
Right, and then you've got Somebody to Love, which is a completely different vibe. It's this gospel-inspired ballad that showcases Freddie's incredible vocal range and emotional depth.
He was channeling his love for Aretha Franklin in that song, infusing it with soul and passion. It's a reminder that he wasn't just a rock star.
Yeah.
He was a versatile vocalist who could move you to tears just as easily as he could get you headbanging.
And who could forget Another One Bites the Dust? That was their foray into disco.
Oh, yes.
And it was a huge hit.
It's funny because Brian May wasn't a huge fan of disco.
Really?
But Freddie embraced it, pushing the band into uncharted territory. It shows their willingness to experiment and take creative risks.
It does, and it paid off. It topped the Billboard charts and proved that they could evolve and adapt without losing their signature sound.
For sure. But let's talk about their magnum opus, A Night at the Opera.
Oh, A Night at the Opera, such a good album.
This album is a masterpiece, a true testament to their creativity and innovation.
It really is.
It was a groundbreaking album that pushed the limits of studio recording. They blended opera, rock, balladry. It was a sonic tapestry, unlike anything that had come before.
And Bohemian Rhapsody was the crown jewel. Of course, the production was incredibly complex.
Yeah.
They spent weeks layering vocal harmonies, guitar solos, orchestral arrangements.
Freddie's vision for the album was to create something extravagant, something that had never been done before, and he succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams.
He did A Night at the Opera, solidified Queen's place as one of the most innovative bands of all time. But Freddie's legacy extends far beyond just the music. His impact as an LGBTQ plus icon is undeniable.
Absolutely. He challenged norms, embraced his individuality, and inspired countless others to do the same, all during a time when being openly gay could be incredibly difficult, especially in the public eye.
And that's something we'll delve into even deeper in the next part of this deep dive. We'll explore how his influence has rippled through the decades, shaping the landscape of LGBTQ plus representation in music and culture.
We'll also talk about the complexities of his personal life, his enduring love for Mary Austin, and the challenges he faced in the twilight of his career. So stay tuned for the final part of our exploration of Freddie Mercury's extraordinary life and legacy.
Welcome back to our Freddie Mercury deep dive. In the previous parts, we talked about his early life, the rise of Queen, their musical innovations, and even touched upon some of the controversies.
Right, we've covered a lot of ground, but this last part, I think, is where it gets really interesting. We're going to explore Freddie's legacy as an LGBTQ plus icon.
Yeah, it wasn't just about the music. Freddie was challenging norms and embracing his individuality at a time when that was incredibly difficult, especially for someone in the spotlight.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. The 1970s and 80s, being openly gay in the rock and roll world was practically unheard of.
Right.
Freddie defied those expectations. He brought his whole self to the stage, the flamboyance, the theatricality, and yes, his sexuality.
And he did it with such confidence and charisma. It wasn't some calculated move. It was just him being authentically Freddie.
Exactly.
And that resonated with millions of people, especially those who felt like they didn't fit in.
He became a symbol of hope, a beacon of individuality. It's like he was saying, you can be yourself no matter what.
Right.
And remember, this was before the internet, before social media.
Yeah.
His impact was amplified through sheer talent, stage presence, and those iconic music videos that pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable.
It's impossible to overstate how important that visibility was, especially for the LGBTQ plus community.
It really is.
He gave a voice to people who were often silenced or marginalized.
Yes.
And he did it through the universal language of music.
And that's what makes his legacy so enduring. He wasn't just an advocate, he was a cultural force who broke down barriers simply by being himself.
He made it okay to be different, to be flamboyant, to be unapologetically you. And that message resonated far beyond the LGBTQ plus community.
No, for sure.
It's a message of self-acceptance and celebrating individuality that still inspires artists and individuals today. You can see Freddie's influence in so many artists who came after him. Lady Gaga, Elton John, David Bowie.
Oh.
They all carry that torch of fearless self-expression.
Absolutely. He paved the way for a generation of artists to embrace their unique identities and challenge the status quo. And let's not forget the impact of the Freddie Mercury tribute concert for AIDS awareness in 1992.
Oh, that was such a powerful event. It brought together some of music's biggest names to not only celebrate Freddie, but also raise awareness and funds for AIDS research at a time when the epidemic was devastating communities worldwide.
A testament to his legacy and the impact he had on the world. And it helped destigmatize AIDS and encourage open dialogue about a topic that was often shrouded in fear and silence.
Speaking of impact, we have to talk about Freddie's relationship with Mary Austin.
Oh, Mary.
It was a truly unique bond that defied definition. Even after their romantic relationship ended, she remained his closest confidant and a constant presence in his life.
It's a testament to the depth of their connection. Freddie even left her his London mansion and a significant portion of his estate.
Yeah.
It shows how much he valued her presence in his life, even as he explored his sexuality and had other relationships.
Their story challenges the conventional notions of love and partnership. It's a reminder that the most profound connections can transcend labels and evolve over time.
Absolutely, and it's clear that Mary provided Freddie with a level of emotional support that he couldn't find anywhere else.
Yeah, now we can't talk about Freddie's later years without acknowledging the shadow of AIDS. His diagnosis in 1987 was a turning point. But even in the face of this devastating illness, he found strength in his music.
He did the albums he created during that time, The Miracle and Innuendo, are filled with a sense of urgency, a poignant awareness of time slipping away.
Songs like The Show Must Go On and Days of Our Lives are both heartbreaking and defiant. They reflect Freddie's determination to create and perform until his very last breath.
It was his way of saying goodbye on his own terms.
And what a powerful goodbye it was. Freddie Mercury's legacy is multifaceted and complex. He was a musical innovator, a captivating performer, a cultural icon, and a champion for individuality.
He was.
His music transcended genres, his stage presence was electrifying, and his influence on LGBTQ+ representation continues to shape the cultural landscape.
Absolutely.
He left behind a body of work that is both timeless and timely, filled with anthems that celebrate life, love, and the pursuit of dreams. His greatest legacy, though, might be the message of embracing your true self, living life to the fullest, and using your voice to inspire change no matter the obstacles.
Freddie Mercury's star burned brightly, but all too briefly, yet his impact continues to shine, reminding us that music has the power to unite, to heal, and to inspire generations to come.
And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the life and legacy of Freddie Mercury. We hope you've enjoyed this journey with us. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep celebrating the music that continues to touch so many lives.
Free.